Yo, what's up? Happy Monday. Let's have some fun tonight. Episode 142 of Evening Hour. Starting right now. Come on in, folks. Cheers. All right. Perfect. What's up, everybody? Come on in, folks. I think we're going to have fun tonight. Let me turn that down a bit. My God. What's up? We got a group in here already. I love it. Come on in. I got a full show. I have lots to discuss. Yes. I'm taking it you're watching the original Evil Dead, Jason. Camille, Steven, Dan. What's up, Dan? Mama. Come on in. Ashworth, what's up? Hello. I love it. It's Monday. What can I say? I've been very busy. I have a very busy week. And I'm in a good mood. I've got my fake beer. I'm on the Guinness Zero. This shit's good. Yeah, I'm into this nitrogen stuff. It's easy to drink. It's not too fizzy. First of all, I just want to say the reason why I've been very busy is this is on Saturday. This is a convention that I'm actually the co-producer. I love that I get to co-produce things with Coney Island, USA. It's insane. It's a dream come true. This is a magic convention. One day. It's for magicians, but it's also for the curious. The shows are going to be fantastic. There's 4 shows. There's 5 lectures. It's going to be fantastic. So, at any rate, if you know anybody in the New York City area, come to Coney Island Saturday. It's going to be noon till late, till the end. And also there's going to be a swap meet. So if you have junk to sell and you have a ticket, you can come in and sell it. Aside from that, I don't know what to say. If you know any young magicians, older magicians, just even magic fans, we've got some A-list performers coming. We have the living legend Devlin going to perform. We have a lot of really well-known nightclub acts. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you very much. Oh, wow. C.R. Mealy. Dude, the lectures alone. There's going to be a lecture on the Coney Island magician Al Flosso, and then it's going to go right into a lecture on the magician a lot of you might not know about, Jeff Sheridan. And, yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm going to teach ventriloquism. That's one of the lectures. And then another one of the lectures is Ken Weber, who's considered top 10 books written on magic. Ken Weber's one of them. He's lecturing. And then Apollo Riego, world-famous magician, gonna do his Penguin Live lecture. I mean, it's gonna be outrageous. I can't wait. So, that's going on. Also at Coney Island this past weekend, they had their spring gala, which is where they raise their funds for the seasons. And they had it at the Coney Island Aquarium, which is just down the block. And I got to perform for the VIP section. When they had dinner, I was one of the entertainers. But then they gave some awards out. They gave an award to Bambi the Mermaid, who's a very close friend. And she was given an award of 25 years of her service. And She started the mermaid, the burlesque at the beach at Coney Island, which is ultimately one of the reasons for the neo-burlesque scene. It's her, literally, Bambi the Mermaid. So they gave her a Forever Mermaid award, and it was a lump in the throat moment. And her husband, who's the sexecutioner from Guar, that's her husband. He was there, and I got to hang with him, and I love that guy. He's a great artist and everything. And I got an earworm about our Ramones Fest. I'm trying to get him to do an appearance, and it looks like it might happen. Let's see. Fingers crossed. And that's going to be in August. So it was beautiful. And then they gave the award of the year, the honoree, was Angie Pontani, the world-famous burlesquer who came from our scene. She's one of us. She's from here. So it was a beautiful time. It was like for Sideshow and Variety, this is like, it's like got that Academy Awards feel, but for all the weirdos. So Gooba Gabba, one of us. Cheers to all the real freaks in the world. And when I mean freaks, I don't necessarily mean you look like a freak. To me, the freaks are all up here. This is the real freak. So, another little crazy thing. I realized that my kids grew up watching horror films. I mean, dude, they were watching extreme horror from the minute they were born. Anybody that says it messes your kids up, I disagree. If you educate them and show them these things, if it's too extreme for me to watch, why would you show it to a kid? You know, that's how I always thought. So my kids were raised on horror, both of them. They both love horror movies, and we watched Psycho. I found out my daughter had never seen Psycho. I was like, oh yeah, you never saw that. And she knew nothing about it. So it was a pure joy to watch that with her. I forgot a lot of details about that movie. It's great. If you haven't seen Psycho in a while, you'll be shocked at how contemporary it is. Really. I was quite blown away. So we watched that because I've never seen Psycho 2. And the damn box set on Amazon for all 4 Psycho movies was like $12. So I got it. We watched Psycho. I'm going to see Psycho 2 soon. Psycho 3 I've seen a million times and I actually like it. And Psycho 4 I have never seen. So I have some cool movies to see. My side time, like when I get a second, I have been heavily involved in... Hold on. This fake beer makes me... Oh, I'm going to yawn. Oh, no. God, beer makes me yawn. Anywho, sorry about that. I've been involved with this game that came in the mail that you saw me. I don't know if you watched my game episode. Masters of the Universe. It's a new board game. And it's made by CMON Games or Come On Games. It's CMON. It's every He-Man character in game format that you can play on a board game and paint the miniatures. So I've been painting these crazy He-Man miniatures and playing the game. We've played a bunch of games. And just to get into the spirit, I decided to watch the Kevin Smith He-Man TV show. And it got a lot of crap because Teela's the main character, not He-Man. Now, in a world where everything new coming out has to be some sort of social message, I was a little like, I don't need to see new He-Man that has no He-Man in it, because that's what one of the headlines was. I will say I liked it. Yes, it's a little bit on that note of, they're making the main characters not the main characters anymore, which is a little weird, but I will say that if you played with the toys as a little kid, the cartoon looks glorious. Wow, he's saying Psycho 4 is good. Wow, can't wait. Thank you about the minis, Dan. I liked it. Yes, Teela is the main character, but Skeletor and He-Man are glorious. When they're in the movie, it's beautiful. I really liked it. I liked the animation style. It's old school, but whenever they do magic, it looks like modern, and it makes the magic look magic-y because it's a contrast to the other animation style. I thought the script was surprising, weird, different. I liked it. So, yeah, check it out. If you're a He-Man fan, I liked it. I'm picky, and I liked it. What else? Before we get into these, I have two subjects tonight to go over. So next Monday I will not be here. I mean, there's a small chance I might do something remotely. Next week, I get to do something that I love doing a lot, and I don't get to do it much in the last... I haven't gone in 6 years, and that is I like turkey hunting. I like killing turkeys and eating them. And I really like the hunt process for turkey. And next week, I get to take my son, fully licensed with a gun, to go get one. Or two. We might be able to bag two in one day. We'll see. He's been turkey hunting with me. I used to drag him along when he was a little kid and make him sit there. Well, now he's going to have a shotgun in his hands. And fingers crossed, we get to have a Thanksgiving party next week. The goal is in the month of May to kill 4 birds between the two of us so that we have one for Thanksgiving and one for the summer. And we can, I'm going to make one here. And if I get another one, I'm going to bring it to Whit because he's a master chef and I want him to do one. So next week, yeah, get them. I mean, I aim for their head. I go right. I shoot a 4-shot, 20 yards away. I aim for the head with a full choke. That's mine. And I use a wood box call. That's it. That's all I do. I scout them a bit. And yeah. Thank you. You'll know. I mean, I might do a whole episode on turkey hunting. I love turkey hunting. It's so fascinating. And it's not that busy. Spring turkey doesn't have a lot of guys running around the woods. So I can't wait. That's next week. And then, last but not least, before we get into the subject, yeah, dude, you've eaten Whit's food. Imagine me. He told me, he's like, if you get a bird, bring it to me. Oh, your dad's going. Spring turkey's beautiful. So the other day, I decided to write my own 10 commandments, and I'm going to read them to you. I'm curious if anybody has done this before. I really tried to clear my head and not be influenced by anything, and just what do I command myself? It's a commandment to myself, right? And this is more than 10. I think it's 12 now, but I might get rid of a few. I might refine this. The wording might get adjusted, but I'm starting to mess with it. So, and I recommend anybody try this. Yeah, they are pretty hard to hunt. Yes, and that's why I like it. But when you get one to gobble, oh boy. Oh my God. There's nothing like making the wood call and then you hear the real gobble. And you're like, oh my God, he's right there. I can't even see him sometimes. Sometimes they're hiding. I love it. But I recommend everybody try the old write your own 10 commandments. I was inspired by the fact that there's a school somewhere in Texas where they're going to put the 10 commandments on the wall, and it's a public school. And, you know, one side says it's part of our founding fathers' documents. That's the secular argument for why it would be there. And then there's the religious argument where we're a Christian nation. I disagree with both of them. I'm like, if you're going to put a 10 commandments in the classroom, maybe put the Code of Hammurabi, the thing that it ripped off, and not the Jewish carpenter version or the Judeo-Christian version, which to me is very different than the Code of Hammurabi, the slant upon it. And then also, you got to remember our founding fathers weren't necessarily, quote, Christian. Some of them were deists, and I don't think they would have liked this either. So, at any rate, I thought, I'm writing my own 10 commandments, and I'm going to put this on my own wall. Because my 10 commandments are very different than the ones in the Bible. Tell me if you like them. Number 1, well, I'm not going to number them. They're not numbered yet. Thou shalt question all things. Right? I like what Dawkins said to his kid. He wrote a letter to his kids in case he died. Question all these 3 things, always. Question. Kids would be on point about. I love it. So, yeah, I mean, that is the original code, right? He said to question 3 things. Question authority, question revelation, and this one's the big one. Question traditions. You know, really look at them. So question all things. Thou shalt not disappoint thyself. Don't disappoint yourself. That's a little stoicism there. Like, you know, design your code of ethics and stick to it. And if you're disappointing yourself, that's not good for your subconscious. Here's one. Thou shalt assume that good things eventually go south. It's a little bit of Schopenhauer in there. Thou shalt assume that good things eventually go south. Here's one. Thou shalt not see thyself through others' eyes. That's a big one. This is where the identity stuff comes in. Like, I'm a fan of, if your identity is based on how somebody else sees you, you have a big problem. Big problem. Because now you have to thought police the world. Bad idea. So, I try not to see myself through others' eyes. Here's one. Thou shalt always remember that when your enemy is drowning, turn up the faucet. They would do the same. That's a big one. I don't need to explain that one. Thou shalt never compromise. Oh, here, I adjusted this one already. Thou shalt never compromise thine artistic expression. So whatever your artistic expression is, you can't compromise it. If you do, you're a tool. That's it. Or you're not an artist anymore. You're a salesman. Artists sell what they make. Craftsmen make what they sell. All right. When making, here's a big one. Big one. Everybody listen to this. I don't care if you're left or right. Shut your traps and listen. When making rules, always assume your enemy might be enforcing them. The rules must fit both parties. When you are feeling wrong, save the blame game for blackmail, not your own reality. And that one's a big one. It's like, if you're going to do the blame game for like sneaky bad purposes to like get at people, great, go ahead. That's more honest than when you do it to yourself. To me, that's a big one that I need to nuance. Ooh, I love that people are gambling in here. I'm curious of which one of these people, like. Here's one. This is a big one. Thou shalt not discover kindness from pity. Big one. That's Nietzsche. That's Zarathustra. Here's a big one. Thou shalt always remember that we humans came from the jungle not that long ago. And then Rick Sherman, who's a viewer, I don't know if he's in here tonight, I was reading these lists to him, and he said, how about this one? Thou shalt not follow any commandment rules. And I went, yes, but I got to adjust it. I wrote this. Thou shalt only follow thine own commandments. And there's my 13 commandments? I don't know how many that is. I'm going to adjust them, but yeah, follow your own code of ethics. I don't follow their laws. I break the law, but I keep my laws. I've always lived by that rule. So hopefully that goes, eventually I'm going to organize it. I did it just for myself. I like making my own rules and writing them down, because when you write them down, that's the reflective part from your subconscious. That's why I'm always telling people, get a pencil. Thank you. Thank you, Ashworth. Yeah, they're reasonable. They're not too far-fetched. But I wanted them to be like what things mean something specifically to me. Like which one of these like resonate, and that was the list. Don't make me make a rule. That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, for a boss, that's a good one. That's a good one. The 10 Commandments of being a boss. How about the 10 Commandments of working under me? That would be the one. So you could put, if you Basement Access Mundi, if you were gonna write your boss if you're the boss at work, yeah, you can make it. You could be like, here's the 10 Commandments for if you work for me. Here's kind of how I run my stuff. No, it is. It's a great exercise. See, to me, these are kind of things that people don't do with their kids for fun. They don't. They're like, they save it for church. They save it for school. They don't really dig into values and what it all means with little kids. And I don't understand that. I don't. I'm like, what else do you do? Like, that's more important than anything. Like, talk about this stuff. Argue it. Debate it. Right? Make silly ones. Make serious ones. I don't know. Oh yeah. Yes. Did you ever hear Richard Dawkins go through the 10 Commandments? It's kind of cool. It's like, you know, it's like he goes through them and he's like, that one's stupid, that one's stupid, that one's stupid, this one's obvious. I think he whittles it down to only 2 of the commandments being good, like actually solid. Some of them are thought policing, coveting another's woman, like that whole concept. That's a thought police. But see, those to me are the ones you write for yourself, you know? I mean, dude, it's a cool, fun. It's not even hard to do. It's fun. Well, making D&D monsters is also very creative. I love it. That is a good idea. That's good. That's a creative, fun little experiment too. And I'm gonna lead that into the subject because I'm already over. This is gonna be a long episode, maybe, because I want to go today. We're talking about the new Evil Dead movie and Schopenhauer. And I'm new at Schopenhauer, even though I know a lot about him through Nietzsche. I'm working backwards on philosophy. I mean, I started with the Stoics in the middle, then I went ancient, then I went Nietzsche, then I went even more modern, and now I'm going pre-Nietzsche. And then after this, I think I'm going to go pre-Schopenhauer and get into the Hegels and the Kants and all those guys. So, everyone must create their own story. Yeah. Yeah. That's a big one. Who is this? Diogo Simoes. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I like that. Yeah, you got to write your own story, right? I mean, and if you don't, somebody else is doing it for you. So I really wanted to go over Evil Dead. And first of all, my history with it is I didn't see Evil Dead 1 at the movies. I didn't even rent it. They didn't have it where I rented movies. So I couldn't see it. I don't know why. The video rental places didn't have it. And I started reading about it in monster magazines. And when Evil Dead 2 came out, oh, this is good. Whoever's in this show, man, this is a chatty show. Look in the chats. It's good. People write really good stuff in here. Oh, wow. Okay. Jamie, you're going to like what I have to say. I have some really this movie got to me in a like I need to rant way, which is not too often, but I need to rant on this. I saw Evil Dead 2 because I knew all about it from Fangoria magazine. I went alone. I remember my dad dropped me off. I went in. There was 4 or 5 people in the movie, and I left with my head blown off. I saw an over-the-top horror film that had extreme gore, well done, on a low budget, a really interesting story, really likable characters, over-the-top gore, a little humor, a little Three Stooges, and it actually had scary moments. And it aimed high, and I left so satisfied that it really shaped my tastes forever, till now. And then I saw Army of Darkness opening day. Loved it. Again, no one in the theater. People don't realize these movies were not popular. Nerd culture wasn't popular. You got messed with if you like this stuff. People made fun of you. So the people that liked it risked ostracization. I hate that word. I can't ever say it. Ostracization. Yeah. My boss was... Okay. Oh, you turned down. Yeah. Wow. See, Armeli says, my boss was a distributor in the 70s and 80s, and he turned it down. Yeah, that's wild. So I've always liked these Evil Dead movies. And fast forward to the remake. What is it, 10 years ago? I saw it at the movies. I liked it. I didn't hate it. It didn't make me want to do a rant. I wanted to see it again. I left thinking I'd like to see that again, and I own it. I bought the movie. Oh my God, dude. Wow. I didn't get to see Terrifier 2 in the movies. I'm a big fan of the movie. And I'm going to talk about that movie a lot tonight, because to me, Terrifier 2 does this to all of these movies and Hollywood and everything. So the Evil Dead remake, although it's missing key elements that make Evil Dead interesting, because they went serious and not silly, right? It was fine, but again, it's going to be forgotten. No one will remember that movie. Now, let's get to the TV show. The TV show nailed everything that makes Evil Dead great. Over-the-top violence. So over-the-top, it's humorous. Excellent choreography and camera work. Fun, exciting, new things that you've never seen before in the TV show. Very creative decisions. Likeable characters. The Honduran guy, so likable. So sincere and lovable. Ash, the jerk, the kind of a bigot guy, they kind of make him likable, right? So, even season 3 was good. They also catered to the fans by bringing back old characters. I mean, I could go on and on about why the TV show worked. It did very well. People liked it. And then they canceled it, right? So here comes the new one. I saw the trailer, thought, looks pretty cool, right? The trailer got me. So I went opening day last week. What was it, Friday? I went with my 2 kids, my mama, who's watching, and my son's friends. These guys aren't kids. They're like in their 20s. They're young 20-year-olds. My daughter's 16. The whole theater's pretty full. Now, I'm going to not do any spoilers. I'm going to do my best. Within a few minutes of the screen, I thought it sucked. Right away, I was like, this is the opening? This is the beginning? Now, if you've seen the old Evil Dead remake, the one that came out 10 years ago, I thought the opening to that was quite good. And then, so this one, there's this whole opening scene, and then there's the title, Evil Dead Rise. And so before I get into the nitty-gritties of why I hated this movie, I just want to say I really think, and the reason why I'm fascinated by this, and the reason why I'm doing the rant, is because I couldn't find any bad reviews. And I'm like, I'm shocked. And I'm like, was everybody hypnotized to like this? What made people like it? I'm here to debate. Tell me what's good about it. Give me one thing, right? So I'm looking for all these reviews and all these people that I thought knew what they were talking about. Like, oh, I loved it, and the effects were good, and it was scary. And okay. Now, it's my personal opinion. Now, I've read in the reviews, a lot of people thought the title opening words were so great it was mind-blowing. Okay, so to me, it's one of the hypnotizing features of this film. The title credits are so beautiful that it kind of fools you into forgetting how bad the opening was, and it sets this tone that's good. There's a lot of movies that I think tricked people into liking them. One of them is the Tarantino Hollywood movie that came out a few years ago. Another one is I Can See Dead People. That Shyamalama Ding Dong movie, I Can See Dead People or whatever. Everybody loved it. And I remind people, it's a bad movie with a clever ending. Go watch it. It's boring and bad. So I think a lot of movies figure out how to... Now, there's also so much bad stuff that a lot of mediocrity makes it through. That's the other thing I always notice. Scream. I never liked Scream. I hated the first one. Oh, well, if you hated the... I mean, dude, the remake to me is a masterpiece compared to this new one. Because it still had some moments of wincingness and stuff. So, at any rate, oh God, the Godzilla that came out in the early 90s, they hypnotized people into thinking that they're good. They're like, oh, that was good, that was fun. It's like, no, that was really bad, actually. So, the movie starts, and right away, I'm just like, wow, this is kind of dull. It just had a dull feeling. Now, I'm going to throw this out. I mean, dude, they find the Book of the Dead. I mean, it's the Evil Dead movie. What makes Evil Dead, right? You know, the Book of the Dead, charismatic lead. The demons are a specific type of a demon. They're a Sam Raimi demon. Sam Raimi created a vernacular for Evil Dead movies. Literally, his own language of images and symbols. And so, this movie's produced by the original 3 producers, Raimi, Tappert, and Campbell, and they hire some new person to direct it. Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like The Void. And so they hire a new director, and that director has to speak somehow the Raimi vernacular, the language of the Evil Dead movies. So they're like, all right, what do we... To me, this is what that movie was like. They got a list. All right, we got to have the book. They wrote down the things that they needed to put in the movie to call it Evil Dead. And I'm going to say it right now. You could take the Book of the Dead out of this movie, put a damn Ouija board in, and it's just another random, scary modern movie like all the other ones. Nothing like Hereditary. Nothing. It's just whatever. And it's also, to me, a ripoff of Smile and all these other new movies coming out. It's a big ripoff. All right, now here, no spoiler. To me, the greatest thing in this movie was the title credits, which are just words, and the line, "Mommy's with the maggots," which is in the trailer. They give it in the trailer. By the time she says it in the movie, you're like, oh, I've heard it in the trailer. It's like, okay. And I'm not kidding you. This movie reminded me a lot of the new It movies, in which they show the scary like right away. You're like, ah! Right away you saw the It guy, big teeth, and every time they showed the It guy in this new It movie, he's like there, and they like up to the camera, but they kept doing it. You can't do the same magic trick over and over again. In the new Evil Dead, the smiling demon, that's it. That's what you're getting, smiling demon and Sam Raimi walks and movement over and over and over. So now let's just get into the nitty gritty. The characters, so the plot, and I'm not kidding, is about, it's about a hipster, activist, progressive family. Okay? Now, hipster progressives that are activists and go to parades and scream and yell, half of America can't stand them, and the other half, or not other half, I think it's way less than that, but the people that are like into showing up and people that have a different protest to go to every day, it's a group of people, but why would you make that the main character of your, the main cat? It just is a weird choice to me, unless you're told to by the or at least it's like you're guaranteed a certain distribution if you do this. I don't know. Who knows? But to me, it didn't mean anything. Like, so you put these progressive-y type of parade going, screaming, I think one of them said, make feminine not dangerous or something, and then it was like, make saving the earth cool again. I mean, it's like laughable. I'm like, are they trying to be funny with this, or are they being serious? It's like, if you're going to do that, then there's a whole bunch of people. It's like, oh, we get to watch these people. Maybe the demon will kill them with their stupid signs, right? It had nothing to do with the story, really. It was like, okay, the mom it's a hipster mom. She's dyeing her hair red, and she's a tattoo artist. Okay, I know a million people like that, but it's just, to me, a weird choice of character for an Evil Dead movie. Is it interesting to people? Maybe. To me, it had nothing to do with the story, so what's the point? So the characters, to me, were dull. And to me, the main thing that bugged me was there's nothing new. You don't learn any new lore. You don't see any new surprising things about the lore of Evil Dead or the book. Nobody's bugging out when things are happening. They're not like, oh my God, what is this? What are you doing? Like, there's no discovery. There's no, like, they discover the book and there it is. That's it. It's like, the Evil Dead 2 being such a simple plot and low budget story is rich with lores and legends, and you can feel like lots of history in it. This is nothing. You could have literally put a Ouija board. The special effects, a lot of the kills are off camera. The practical effects look fake. And the CG effects, yeah, whatever. It's too dark to see them. I don't know. Don't remember much. And look, Terrifier 2 cost $250,000, which is nothing. I've made records that cost that much, okay? Question, is Mommy with the Maggot supposed to be... Yeah, exactly. It's it. It's one line. It's a one-line movie. The special effects, like Terrifier 2 cost no money and made $15 million. This movie cost $17 million, was supposed to go to HBO. They spent most of the budget on advertising, and it tested well with an audience. So that's why it went to the movie theaters. When you watch Terrifier, it's expertly made. All the practical effects, just when you can see the rubber head long enough to see that it's fake, the camera cuts. You know, it's like really well done. And it's also shocking, over the top, and just when you think you've seen it all, he takes it one step farther. Sound familiar? Yeah, it sounds like the old Evil Dead movies. Well, you can see the attempt in this to do such, but it just seems pale in comparison to all these other new horror films coming out. It has the franchise name. And Damien Leone, the director of Terrifier 2, wrote it, directed it, and did the special effects. Yeah, I wrote down the only good things in the movie are Mommies with the Maggots and the opening credit line. I'm not kidding. I mean, I really wanted to like this movie. I wasn't trying to go. I was like so excited. I mean, really, the opening scene was just like, this is the opening? There's no time. It's just, okay. And then the movie takes place not in a cabin. It takes place in an apartment. One of the characters of the Evil Dead movie is the cabin. It's literally one of the characters. There's also a Kandarian dagger. You know, there's certain elements that take on lives of their own. Even his cut off hand is a character. And if you watch the TV show, the cabin is part of the story eventually. And all the lore is that this has none of it. None. I'm not exaggerating. The new Hellraiser movie, a lot of people liked it. Some people hated it. But I will say, at least you learned more lore about Hellraiser than all of the Hellraiser movies combined. Which is what I always wanted when I was watching those old Hellraiser movies, is I want to know more about this thing going on. What the heck is this? This mystery. Let's get in there. The new one did that, and I really liked the new Hellraiser. I liked it enough to want to see it again, because I was like, wow, there's detail in this that I missed. I really didn't like, there was no build in the Evil Dead. And I know this because this is what I notice, and this is when I watch anything in showbiz, whether it be a movie or a play or another magician, I'm watching the actors, the audience. I really am. Oh, wait. All Hallows Eve? Love it! Another low-budget genius movie by Damien Leone. Hellraiser 4 is good. I did like that one. The opening scene is great. Brilliant. So, what was I talking about? I already forgot. It was Evil Dead movie. I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, exactly. The independent C.R. Mealy. They don't have any. They're not beholden to the studio. They don't have to. They don't have to get it like a thumbs up. Trick or Treat. Well, has anybody seen the Sam Raimi film, Drag Me to Hell? Loved it. I saw that. Oh, I know what my train of thought was. I saw Drag Me to Hell opening night with my son when he was a little kid, and I'll never forget it. It was one of my favorite movie experiences. People were screaming and yelling and having a blast. When I watched this new Evil Dead, people would get excited, and then the energy just dies. And there's the in-between the action-y scenes, there's this dead feeling. They're not learning anything new. They're not changing into these new types of people. The main characters are a tattoo artist mom. Her sister's a guitar tech. They've got 2 hipster kids that are activists. One's a DJ. And then a cute little girl. That's the main cast. There's a couple side characters in the new Evil Dead. There's like a neighbor and some like old white guy. They were the most interesting characters for me. This is the neighbors. And I really like... Okay, here's what I was going to say. I watch the audience, and you learn a lot about the audience. And during the Evil Dead movie, not only is everybody dopamine addicted to their iPhone, people are checking their messages during the slower parts. That's not good. That's bad. Tubi's amazing. Tubi is a great... If you don't know what Tubi is, look it up. They have a great horror film section. They have a great documentary music section. And it's free. So, anywho, I really... And I have a tie-in to this to Schopenhauer. Because I've been Oh, by the way, this is the... When they did... This is the Book of the Dead that... Look at this. You can even see the... This is Evil Dead 1. When they first did the DVD, they did this. And I'm not kidding you. This is what made me buy a DVD player. I didn't have a DVD player. And then I went and I got this DVD. Look, they put the actual DVD is on the last page. It's beautiful. It's I keep it in a special bag. And then they did Evil Dead 2, Book of the Dead. Even the book in the new one. It looks kind of like that. You know, it's kind of like this. And it has these weird little, like, teeth. They're like this on the side. And it's lame. This is way creepier. So the tie-in. How do I take this to Schopenhauer? So... I mean, this movie's... The thing that I hated about this movie, I would say, mostly is the directing. Because, I mean, the script is bad, too. The script is bad, and the directing's bad. If it had a better script, if the characters were written, if there was a little bit more of a plot of something, a surprise. I mean, there's the grand finale in this. It's like, if I remember the grand finale in this new one, I'm not going to spoil it, but... We've seen it before. Has anybody seen Color Out of Space? Well, I hate the movie Mandy. I could do a whole rant on that. I thought it was garbage. It was fluff. It was nonsense. It was literally masturbatory filmmaking. Everything they got you into, they didn't even follow through within the plots. But I really liked Color Out of Space, both Nick Cage movies. Color Out of Space, to me, in the movie theater, was really good. Yeah. Check it out, Color Out of Space. So, oh no, where did I put my... Oh, here it is. My Schopenhauer book. So, Schopenhauer, famous for... I mean, oh gosh, I bumped this. I mean, his book... World is Will and Representation. That's his big book. And I haven't read it yet. It's funny, I didn't start with that. I started with this book, which you can get on Amazon for cheap. Essays and Aphorisms. Now, I knew a lot about him already, so when reading this, I kind of had some knowledge of his philosophical... whatever. His theories, his work of what it is. Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, I could. I mean, dude, here you go, Benjamin. I'll fight you right now on Mandy. They introduce all this supernatural crap and then never follow through with it. It just is like gone. I can fix the end of Mandy should have been after he's done with the bad guy. The motorcycle gang shows up and he joins them. I was like, oh my God, he's turning it. They didn't do. It's terrible. Anyway. So I could keep going on with Mandy. I mean, the filmmakers admitted they just made a movie for him to act nuts in. That's the action of the movie. It's not to tell a good story. It's to give Nicolas Cage a job in which they said that in an interview. I was like, see, that's why it sucks. They weren't trying to tell a good story. They're trying to be cool. And that's what I noticed. That's why I don't like Tarantino. He's trying to be cool. As soon as I see something try to be cool, it's no longer cool. You know? That's why I don't like those kind of things. So, Um, this guy's famous here, Schopenhauer, for being a pessimist to reality. He's like, look, the world sucks. It's pain and misery. You ain't getting around it, And I think this is why Nietzsche liked him, when Nietzsche was young. So I wanted to read something that really blew my head off. And this is near the end of the book. I have one more chapter left, and I'll probably finish this book maybe this week. I loved it. This is a great Schopenhauer book. I like it. I like the Nietzsche stuff better, but this has to be because it's what Nietzsche got first. It's where he learned. I mean, what's it say with its endings? Mandy ends with us learning that they are not on Earth. Oh, right, yeah. I mean, what is that? Room 237. It sounds familiar. I don't know that Cage movie. So, check this out. I read a little article. Now, this is the end of the book, and it's just his little essays on how to be a better writer. But honestly, to me, this applies to all arts, performance, writing, music, any kind of communication. Because what I'm about to read is about communicating. And to me, communication is the most important thing in the world. Because all communication is I have these things in my head, and I'm going to get it so that you can see these things in my head. I'm going to communicate them to you. And some people are good at it, some people are terrible at it. And I can't believe it's something that, again, little kids aren't taught. They don't even know what that is. So, here you go. Okay. This is him talking about style in art. Okay? Oh, I did like the Shining movie. I liked Dr. Sleep a little bit. A little bit. To me, it had some neat... I was surprised by a couple things in it. But, anywho. Here we go. This is Arthur Schopenhauer's Essays and Aphorisms. This chapter's called On Books and Writing. And it's Essay 9, or aphorism. I mean, these are aphorisms. Here it is. An error of style which, with literature in decline and the ancient languages neglected, is becoming more and more common. But it's really at home only in Germany. It is its subjectivity. So he's saying style is being subjective. Okay? People's style, the way they're selling it, is kind of subjective. It's like, well, you can take it a bunch of ways. Okay, now, here's where it gets interesting. It consists in this, that the writer is satisfied so long as he himself understands what it means. The reader may be left to make of it what he can. It's pretty easy to understand. Unconcerned with this difficulty, the writer proceeds as if he were engaged in a monologue, while what would really be taking place is a dialogue, and indeed one in which the speaker has to express himself the more clearly in that he cannot hear the listener's questions. This is brilliant. It is for just this reason that a style should not be subjective, but objective. An objective style is one in which the words are so arranged that the reader is downright compelled to think exactly the same thing as the author has thought. But this will come about only if the author continually remembers, and this is big, that thoughts obey the law of gravity to this extent, that they travel much more easily from head to paper than they do from paper to head. So that for the latter journey, they require all the assistance we can give them. If this is achieved, If this is achieved, the words operate in a purely objective way, like a completed oil painting. While the subjective style is hardly more effective than a series of blots on the wall, only he whose imagination has chanced to be aroused by them can see them in shapes and pictures. To others, they're just blots. This is freaking mind-blowing. He said it. So he basically says, as an artist, as a communicator, it is easy for me to take it here. It's easier for me to take it from my thoughts and put it on a piece of paper than it is for those thoughts on the paper to make it to your head and for you to get the vibe I'm trying to convey. That said, you better think about that whilst you're making your art. Like, what's the point? And I've met artists that go, well, I want to be subjective. And I go, yeah, because you don't have anything to say. You don't have a specific thought to say. I've met people that are like, my plan is no plan. Okay. So if your plan is no plan, in my world, that actually requires more planning. Well, you could say he's legit on Reservoir Dogs, but he copied that movie from another film, a Hong Kong film. That's the problem. That's my problem with all of his movies. They're samples. He's a sampler. He's like how I hate sampling in music. He's a sampler for cinema. And when I noticed it, it made me, ugh. I was like, I'd rather see the source material. I did a whole episode on Tarantino. Go, if you haven't seen it, watch it. So anywho, this little Schopenhauer thing really, I've always thought that, but again, I can't write how he writes. This is like simplicity and brilliance here. But yeah, the idea that don't be objective in what you're trying to do. Make it very clear. My way of working magic shows is the same thing. You know, all magic tricks have a plot, and it has to be very simple. And the more simple it is, the more, oh, wow, he called him a collage artist. That's true. I would agree. Okay, now, how about this one? Let me see here. So right after this, this is a big one. This is number 10. He who writes carelessly makes first and foremost the confession that he himself does not place any great value on his thoughts. For the enthusiasm which inspires the unflagging endurance necessary for discovering the clearest, most forceful, and most attractive form of expressing our thoughts is begotten only by the conviction of their weightiness and truth, just as we employ silver or golden caskets only to sacred things or priceless works of art. Brilliant. To me, that's how you do anything is how you do everything. Punk rock. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And also punk rock, like Damien Leone, is about, and it's half of my 10 commandments are punk rock. Don't worry about what others think. Do the best you can and make it go, do it on your own, DIY, and don't care what others think. And be objective in your, Room 237 about Stanley Kubrick and his film. Oh, yeah. I heard about this, Ashworth. I did. I do want to see that. I do. Yes, it points out the code. Kubrick was no joke, and I should do a show on Eyes Wide Shut because I didn't like the movie, and then I really liked it. I realized a few things. It kind of, yeah, interesting. Oh, here's one. The guiding principle in the art of composition should be that the human being can think clearly only one thought at a time, so that he should not be asked to think two. So, okay, right there, I'm going to stop at that. That's all we need. I can talk 2 hours about just that. We can only think of one thing at a time. When I see an amateur artist, performer, musician, magician, anything, one of the first things I notice about an amateur, someone who doesn't have the flight time or experience, is that they do what I just read. They put two ideas together. And I mean, I learned in college, when you're acting, you can only play one action at a time. If I'm trying to convince you, that's my action: to convince, to ridicule, to comfort, whatever my verbal action is, you can only do one at a time. We don't do two at a time. You just do one. And to me, that's art works the same way. You can't give them two different things to think about at the same time. You can't build that. To me, art and theater, I'm coming from a performer end, you got to build it. So you give them this thought and you're building it. When I'm doing magic, or when I see a bad magician, it's like they're combining things to be clever. They want to make themselves seem new and interesting, so they combine a bunch of things. They throw it all in, and it turns to mud. You can't use all the colors. It turns to mud. You got to be very, to me, simple means easy to understand, which is what that first thing is I read in this Schopenhauer stuff. Make it simple. Not keep it simple, stupid. I hate that. It's make it simple. Refine it. Hone it. Cut out all the garbage that's clever and leave it its core value and essence. And that's how you can communicate. It's really something that is so profoundly simple, but hard to implement, because it requires the person to go into their subconscious and to sit there and look at their ego and turn it off. You go, what am I trying to say here? Why am I trying to say it? What's the idea? Now let's make that happen. So let's go back to Evil Dead. Was their goal to scare? It must have been, because every review I read said it was scary. And when I read the director's comments and Bruce Campbell kept saying, oh, this one's the scary one. This one's the scary one. It's like, it's scary if you find Smiling Demon saying, mommy's with the maggots now. If you think that's scary, then okay. It seems like that was their goal. But their goal wasn't to surprise, because everything I'd seen in this movie, I've seen before. So there's no surprises. The scares, my son pointed this out. I said the movie's too dark, meaning dark, like the lighting's dark. It's got this dark, they're in an apartment, and it's just kind of dark the whole time. If you watch the other Evil Dead movies, it's glorious, and you can see everything. And even in the dark scenes, you can kind of tell what's going on. My son pointed out that there's a lot of darkness in Hereditary. Hereditary is a dark movie, but it's actually scary. It plays with the supernatural, and then you think it's not supernatural. It really gets you to go a few places. I mean, the Evil Dead, you know that the supernatural stuff's real right away. There's no mystery. None. Some things are simple as they seem. The most thing. Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, well, if their goal was to entertain, then why wouldn't they take one of the Evil Dead elements that makes them good and crank it like the humor? There's only one little humorous thing in the movie that was a nod to the old, and it was done. I thought it was handled in a sloppy manner. It was like thrown in for measure, like Raimi told them to do it or something. I don't know. But I was not entertained. I wanted it to be more. I was like, this is not very funny. It's not very scary. None of the characters are interesting. Please fight me, anybody. Which characters were interesting? Which one? Ooh, the mom dyes her hair red. Okay. One other thing I will say. Modern filmmaking, the camera looks really clear. And when they're doing close-ups of all these actors, you can see their facelifts. You can see the where they slice their lips, and I'm like, do they know that looks terrible up close? Well, I mean, I don't think Evil Dead 2 was cheesy. I think I like Evil Dead 2 because it still took itself seriously. Like, whatever is considered cheesy, You know, like in Evil Dead 2, when the blood squirts out of the wall, it's like a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, and then so much you've never seen it before, that much. And then they did it again in Army of Darkness, even more blood. I was like, wow. So, okay, there is a lot of blood in this movie, but I've seen that before. We've seen it in the other ones. It didn't take it to a new level. It wasn't more. It wasn't even more extreme. It wasn't. You want to see blood? Watch Terrifier 2. It's way more extreme, jaw-dropping, and so over the top that it is a little humorous. It's like lighthearted almost. Like, to me, Terrifier 2 and 1, the gore in it is kind of serious and scary, but at the same time, there's a fantasy element to it. Question, but what's not Tarantino bringing us? Capitalism, cultural pressure. Well, that's a heavy one. I don't even know where to start with that. Yeah, the Tarantino new movie, I don't know. Again, the plot was, I couldn't take it. Dude, notice Terrifier 2. Art the Clown. They're including him with Freddy and Jason now. Anytime I see now horror stuff, they're putting him up there. They're not putting the It guy anymore, or even at all. They're certainly not going to use any of these Evil Dead things. Art the Clown became a legit horror icon like that. For good reason. You know? Yeah. Interesting, Ashworth. Yeah, mimicking Clint Eastwood in the spaghetti. Dude, Clint Eastwood's a great director and actor. I really like him. He must be pushing 95 now. Wow. Amazing. I'm a Dirty Harry fan. I really like the Dirty Harry movies. I really like Unforgiven. I mean, I like him a lot. I think he's good. Unforgiven? Woof. What's an MK game? Oh, Mortal Kombat. That's a great idea. Dude, they should make a video game with Art the Clown. I'm sure it's going to happen one day. He became a horror icon, Art the Clown. He really did. I'm going to watch Terrifier in the next few weeks just to clear my head of this Evil Dead movie. I'll never see it again. I mean, maybe I'll watch a scene from it again. I want to see the ending again to make sure I'm not crazy, but I really didn't like the ending. It's like, what? Really? This is just dull. Just snoozeville. Vapid. Uninspired. If you're a horror fan, you've seen it all before. Waste of $17 million. I feel bad for the characters. Didn't have anything to do. Their character arc, one of the plot devices, and I'm not spoiling anything. It's in the beginning. One of the sisters is a guitar tech. And the other sister kind of makes fun of her. She's like, "You're a groupie." No, I'm not. I'm a guitar tech. There's a little bit of that. But there's never a moment that really lets her shine. I mean, she uses her guitar tech skills to fix something kind of minute in the story. But it's just no meat to chew on. Ah! Halloween ends. I didn't see that. I gave up on the I don't even like the Halloween franchise that much. I mean, 1 is great. The old 2 was pretty cool, but other than that, I just lost it. Oh, well, I don't know if you've seen Terrifier 2. Whoever just said maybe in the future they'll create a Terrifier with a female clown. You should see Terrifier 2. I don't want to spoil it. A good question, Helen. So, as soon as the movie was over, I looked over my family. I was on the end. I was like, and my son was like, "You didn't like that?" And I was like, and even my daughter was like, "Really?" And my mom, who's watching, I don't think she gave a shit. My mom likes horror films. She's in here. I mean, I'm sure she had fun. The Flash trailer looks good. I'll be quite honest. It has the coolest Batman of all time in it, Michael Keaton. Yeah, my family, after I explained to them why I hated Evil Dead, I think they understood. And to me, it proves that movies are designed to hypnotize you a bit into thinking they're better than they are through marketing and the graphics and certain elements. And, if they hit a certain amount of bases, then you'll give it the thumbs up. And so they liked it, but they're never going to see it again. They're not like, ooh, let's watch that again. So there it is. We're going to be watching the Psycho movies. And, again, I always say this. I always pretend like I'm going to die in a few years. Actually, let me write this down. Didn't scare. My mom's in here. She saw it. She wasn't scared. Boom. There you go. Ah, Jamie, we need a new Pumpkinhead. I'll take a remake of Pumpkinhead. I'll take a remake of Neon Maniacs. Well, they're doing a Toxic Avenger. We don't need a remake of that. That movie, leave it alone. We'll take a remake of... the Blob remake. I did an episode on that. There's some good remakes. So when you read philosophy books, you see suicide mentioned a lot. And that is a subject nobody likes talking about. I kind of do. I've never been suicidal my whole life. I'm not that type. But I have been thinking about it a lot because of these philosophy books. And I have some new thoughts on it. And I think I'm going to do an episode on suicide. I've known some people that have committed suicide. We all have. And so I'm writing this down now. Last night before I went to bed, I had kind of an epiphany about the thought of what suicide means. And I think I'm going to do a whole episode on it. So stay tuned. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of it. Whether you've suffered from someone committing suicide or you've thought about it. I really want to start a chat on it because when you read Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus, which is a brilliant book, I highly recommend it. I will read it again. It literally starts off by saying, and this is what the hook of the book is, it goes, there's only really one philosophical question. One. And that is whether or not to kill yourself. And I was like, whoa, that's a crazy way to start a book. Killer Clowns, we don't need a remake. We need a sequel, and I hear they're working on one. Yep. I want to see a sequel by the actual guys, the Chiodo brothers. Yeah, I'm out. I'm hungry. I'm going to drink my fake beer. And in the next few weeks, I'm going to watch Evil Dead 2 again. I'm in the mood. I've seen it a million times. Dane Cook joke. A suicide note written by someone who isn't going to kill themselves in autopilot. Oh, here we go. You might get demonetized or something if you mention that in... Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Dude, just on a note, they're really starting to fact check weird things on Instagram. Someone posted some just literally like Denzel Washington quote, and it was getting fact checked. And I was like, oh, this is going to get bad. YouTube and all these meta channels are going to start turning up the garbage, the breathing down your neck. It's not good. There's no such thing as facts, folks. If you print it, it's a fact. Seriously, no such thing as facts. I'm not kidding. There's the truth, and then there's facts, and the facts aren't always truth. So, thank you, everybody. And good point about me getting demonetized about the suicide thing. So, you're right. I'm Cardone. This is, I do take donations. If you're the donating type, hit that thing. Mostly spread the word. I get a great group in here, and I love doing these. Please keep coming back. I'm not here next week. I'm going to be hunting, and yeah. Party on. What else is there to do? Let's have fun. Life's short. I don't have the answers, and neither do you. So let's party. I'm out. This has been Evening Hour, episode 142. And I am really, really thankful of that I have a group of people that come here and watch this and we chat and debate. It really makes me a happy person to be able to like communicate these ideas and learn from you. I'm learning from myself and you. So thank you. Party on.